Alright, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Lacey the One, you feel me? And we back at it again, and we looking at, the top 10 scariest phobias in the world, or the weirdest phobias? I already recorded like two 30-minute vids, so I'm just gonna go with this one real quick. Get your audio straight.
Sure
I'm out of
feels
breath.
good
I
when
need
you
some
get it
water.
right. And with Philips Sonicare technology, it's easy to always get brushing right.
I need to recover.
Philips.
As experts in online education,
Bro, how many
Purdue
ads is there,
University
bro?
Global gives
Skip
you
this.
all the flexibility
I'm
you
trying to watch
need
the video,
to
my
balance.
nigga.
Hey guys, it's Chris. From fears of natural events to fears
Hold on. Yeah.
that can cripple people's lives and more. Join me as I show you the scariest phobias that people actually have.
Alright.
I've heard of like a phobia of space, a phobia of water, and like a phobia of sunken objects. I know there's more phobias than that. I just can't name them off the top of my head though.
Alright, but let's get into this real quick. World's list, eh? Alright, talk to me.
Number 10, arachnophobia. Arguably one of the
I do not have arachnophobia. I've just never been afraid of spiders. I don't know if it's because I live in like an area where spiders aren't a problem, or spiders just aren't scary to me. I've never been afraid of spiders. Like it's probably because I've never had a bad experience with them.
most widespread fears in the world.
Because an area, I do not live with spiders like this. I live with like the tiny little. Put it like this.
Alright, I live with spiders that look like. Bro, these are the spiders I live with. Alright? These are the spiders I live with, bro. That are near my area for the most part, bro. These tiny little. These things look kind of cute though. Like, if we being honest, spiders be cute. Look at how cute that is, bro. That's adorable, bro. Like, look at how adorable this is, bro.
Some of these is kind of cute. But like I've never been afraid of spiders. Like I know this is like one of the most common phobias. Never been afraid of them. But let's continue real
Arachnophobia
quick.
is the fear of spiders. One of the
Aight.
reasons that many people have this fear is because they don't like bugs or arachnids, of which spiders are obviously one of them. People with arachnophobia can't even look at pictures of spiders, and they can get big. Oftentimes, what trips people out about spiders
Sup,
is
nigga?
that they can come in all shapes, sizes, and colors and appear in your home without warning or even really making a sound. People can even wake up in a perfectly secure home and find a spider on their wall or even on them, which obviously just ratchets up the fear even more.
Yes,
It also
sir.
doesn't help matters that spiders can at times be very venomous. Bites can even kill people depending on the species. What kind of freaks people out most if they encounter a spider is that they just start running around like crazy. While it may seem like a low-key fear, it should be noted that if you have this in a country where staying inside most of the day is not an option, it can be a crippling thing. Spiders are often found on the ground, in trees, and they've even been known to rain down from the sky. That's terrifying. There have even been cases of
Where
them
do you
covering
live to where fucking arachnids are raining down from the sky? Like, you gotta leave there in some place.
entire
Man, to get
fields
the
and
fuck.
spider webs, showing that they can truly be anywhere and thus are a fear that's kind of understandable. Fun fact, there's a movie called Arachnophobia and it fully exploits the fear of spiders. So if you have arachnophobia, I do not recommend watching that movie. Number 9, aerophobia.
A
On
fear
the
of
surface,
planes?
aerophobia might seem like one that is rather easy to combat. It's the fear of flying. But you're thinking about this all wrong, because at times flying is the only way to get somewhere. For example, imagine having aerophobia on a job where you need to travel across the country in quick time, meaning driving or taking a train really wouldn't be an option. Or
Well, that's tough, but hey, man, you gotta get the bag somehow.
one where you need to fly all over the world. Having
But
a
the thing
fear
is,
of
planes are way safer than cars. Alright, no. Alright, I skipped to the end of it, my bad. Let me look up the chances of a car accident. Alright. Chances of a car accident. Chances of a car accident. In which case, like, you could die in some way. You know what? Fuck it. How many car accidents per year? Talk to me. How many car accidents? 6 million. More than average number of car accidents in the U.S. every year is 60 million. More than 90 people die in car accidents every day. 3 million people in the U.S. are injured every year because of car accidents. Around 2 million drive cars accidents experience permanent. Yeah. So millions, so hundreds and thousands of people, possibly millions of people a year are dying because of car accidents. All right. How many airplane? All right, let's look this up. How many airplane crashes a year? Something like that. I don't care. 11,164. Fewer than 170 incidents per year. 2009, 2007. You see, planes are way safer than cars. It's just that it's way more impactful when a big ass plane manages to crash in like a little ass car. But car accidents are way more common and deadly than a plane accident.
And having aerophobia on a job where you need to travel across the country in quick time, meaning driving or taking a train really wouldn't be an option. Or one where you need to fly all over the world. Having a fear of flying can literally cost you that job. Or what about visiting family members or just going on a tropical getaway? And if you have never seen a person with aerophobia, the intensity in which they try and not get on the plane or panic once they are in it is no laughing matter. What's more, it even goes beyond just basic fear of flying. Sometimes it's as simple as being afraid of fresh air or drafts of air because you don't know where they come from at times.
Being afraid of air? How the fuck you afraid of air? What the? No, let me look this up. Fear of air. Anemophobia. Afraid of drafts, others gustly. So niggas is out here being afraid of air? Niggas is just afraid of air now? The fuck? I've never been afraid of air or gust of wind in my life.
That wasn't bad enough. Depending on the level of fear within the person, they can even have a panic attack just from mentioning flying or an airplane, which shows that while this may be a basic fear, it's one that can be rather devastating to a person.
Bro, imagine a nigga say, hey, yeah, I'm gonna hop on the plane real quick. And a motherfucker just like, ah! Like, a motherfucker just screaming loud as shit. Because they have, how bad does a phobia get to where, listen, bro, I know some people have an irrational or fear of something. That's what a phobia is for the most part. But how bad and irrational can something be to the point to where the thought or the word triggers something deep inside of you, bro? How bad could it be?
And now for number 8. But first, do you have one of these phobias? And if so, which one? Do you have any advice for people that might be dealing with one of these phobias? Let us know in the comments below. And then be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Number 8. Nyctophobia. In the world today, day and night isn't just something we have, it's a vital part of the world itself.
True.
Without night and the darkness it brings, the world would suffer. And more than likely overheat, because there'd be nothing to cool it down. I mean, we need day and night to survive. Our whole biological rhythm needs it. But for those with nyctophobia, the coming of night brings forth all the fear that could possibly be within oneself.
And go to sleep
This
early.
is the fear of the dark. On one hand, this is a very common fear among children who see monsters and moving shadows and have to sleep with a nightlight on to get through the night. Were you like this as a kid? I think we've all kind of been there.
I used to be like that, but then I realized that I needed pitch black for me to get some sleep. Just make sure to lock a door, and if you have to, check under the bed, check your closet, check your dressers. Just check every place you live. Just check your whole house before you go to sleep, my nigga. If it has to be done, it has to be done. Check your whole crib before you go to sleep. Make sure to check your house before you go to bed, you know what I'm saying? Lock all the doors, make sure all the security lights are on them, some shit. Make sure you got like a strap under your pillow if you have to, my nigga. Just do what you gotta do, man.
And it's not a joke of a fear, because as you hopefully know, darkness comes in many forms, and it can happen in places you wouldn't expect. Nyctophobia produces symptoms beyond the normal instinctive parameters, such as breathlessness, excessive sweating, nausea, dry mouth, feeling sick, shaking, heart palpitations, inability to speak or think clearly, or sensations of detachment from reality and death. The fear can play tricks with your mind and make you think you're in danger, which will make you react in various ways that could be detrimental. Plus, if you try and stay awake to fight the darkness, you'll be hurting your body in the long run because it really does need sleep. It also means that going into places like closets, dark tunnels, and other places without natural light will be a no-go because the person just won't risk being in the darkness. Number 7, glossophobia. If you're unaware of this particular phobia, don't be alarmed. It's simply the fear of public speaking, which may be a phobia that you aren't really sure is really worthy of being called scary. And yet for those who have this particular fear, it's crippling in ways that you can't possibly understand. Think of it like this. Imagine you're with a group of friends. What do you do with them? More than likely, you decide to go and talk with them about recent events, what's going on in their lives, etc. But if you had glossophobia, you more than likely wouldn't be able to do that. Because while most people think that fear of public speaking means going up in front of a large crowd to talk, it can be just as simple as talking in front of friends or family. The anxiety that builds up in them makes it hard to talk in small groups, just as much as it is about being in front of large crowds. What's more, the fear and anxiety can be so crippling that they'll literally break down into tears because they just can't do it. And that can be a powerful motivator to not try and do it again. Number 6, claustrophobia. One of the more classic phobias, if you will. Claustrophobia is the fear of enclosed spaces.
I do not like enclosed spaces. Like, I could not live in a tiny ass house because I just need room. Even if I'm not going to use it, I just need some room. I need a level of just space so I can actually like function though.
Which in the world we live in is something that can be very hard to avoid. For example, you might think of a closed space like the foundation of a home that people sometimes have to crawl into in order to get a job done, or an alley, or a tunnel in certain cases. But an enclosed space can be something as simple as an elevator, especially if that elevator is crowded and the person feels that they're literally
I do not like elevators. I do not trust elevators, my nigga. Bro, just imagine, bro, the moment you hear an elevator and that shit start malfunctioning, bro, you just gotta pray for your life, my nigga. You gotta pray for your life, because a malfunctioning elevator is hella scary.
It can get worse, though. Being in a car can sometimes trigger an attack, because depending on its size and the person's ability to move or lack thereof, that could be enough to get them scared. Even wearing certain tight clothing isn't an option because of how restrictive it can make a person feel. So if you have severe claustrophobia, you're going to be looking for a way to get out of a tight space, even if it's one that's perfectly safe. Number 5.
Why do I care so much what people think about me? I think I'm gay.
Okay, we skip those.
Number 5, agoraphobia. In many ways, agoraphobia is the opposite of claustrophobia, because while claustrophobia
it's the fear of open space,
enclosed spaces, agoraphobia is the fear of open spaces, which basically means the entire world in a certain sense. To be clear, this goes much deeper than it sounds, because it's not that they're afraid of being in an open space per se, but rather they view the area that is very open as a danger. As in, it's something that can't be easily escaped, or a place where danger is all around you and you can't tell where the threat is. So for example, if you were to put a person with agoraphobia in an open field, they would likely constantly be looking around for a way out, and to make sure that something wasn't about to get them. This is arguably one of the most crippling fears in the entire world for a very simple reason. If the anxiety and the fear is enough in the person, they'll never want to leave their house. Picture that for a second. Having such fear of what might be out there that you choose to stay inside and never experience any of what's out there in the world. Could you imagine living that way? Most wouldn't be able to, yet some do because of agoraphobia. Number 4, coulrophobia. The term irrational fear is meant to define fears that honestly shouldn't make people scared, and yet do. And few fears are as justified in that term as coulrophobia, the fear of clowns. What's rather curious about this fear is that about 7.8%
goofy ass
clowning alone are afraid of clowns, and the reaction to them can be rather traumatic to the person involved. This, of course, has spawned a
I'm not scared of clowns. I just don't like them niggas. Them niggas ugly as hell, bruh. If a clown run up on me with some, I'm hitting the dash and then beating the fuck out of it. Like, there's not a universe where, like, my instinct to live would be so strong if a clown ran up on me, because I'm not going out by a clown. Like, I'm not dying because of a fucking clown. Like, my ops gonna laugh at me if I die to a fucking
evil
clown, my
clowns,
nigga.
as they're known, ones that are meant to prey upon the fear of them. Great examples of this include Pennywise from Stephen King's It,
Big ass
the
forehead,
Joker
bro.
from DC Comics, and more. As to what really sets off people about clowns, well, it's rather unknown. It's likely their entire look, with a mix of their clothing, their face paint, and more. Either way, if you have this fear, you will not be clowning around. Number 3, chronophobia. In many ways, chronophobia is a fear that the majority of people have in a certain context, because chronophobia is the fear of time passing. Now, usually
Nigga,
chronophobia
what?
is triggered in a person by a certain state of mind. For example, depression, regular anxiety, and the fear that things are just going too
How the fuck are you afraid of time passing by? Like, I could not imagine. Do they just see a clock and have a panic attack? Like, how does that work? How are you how are you afraid of time passing by? That doesn't even make logical sense, bro.
fast, and thus you need to do more in order to make up for the time that you've lost. Other versions are when you look at your life and you feel that you haven't done anything, and yet time keeps passing.
So they're not afraid of time passing by. They're just afraid of the things they do in that spread of time. So if a whole year passes by, they just get anxious because they haven't done anything.
As if you don't matter, and that anxiety and fear mixes together to cause problems for the person. The real problem with this fear is that it's always going to be there in some way because time doesn't stop. The best way to fight it is to accept that time is constantly moving, and that you just need to do the best you can with the time you have, so you don't have regrets later on. Number 2, anthropophobia. Can you guess what this particular phobia is?
No.
We'll give you a hint. If you're with a friend watching this right now, you don't have this phobia. Anthropophobia is a fear of people. To some, this might sound impossible. How can someone be afraid of all people? But it's a phobia that's real, and it can happen in ways that truly ruin lives. It can be a traumatic event that sets it off.
A
or
fear of
just
just
an
people
innate
in
fear of
general?
People in general. And we do
The
mean
fuck?
people in general because people with anthropophobia will rarely, if ever, associate with people face to face, let alone in a crowd. Even being with family, the family who raised you even, can cause you to suffer extreme anxiety. Thus, people with this condition
I think this is the worst one. Like, just being afraid of people, just being afraid to talk to people, to look at people. I could not do that, bro, at all.
will only communicate verbally through phone chats, written letters, or other mediums where face-to-face contact isn't an option. These people live in isolation, so they never have to deal with others. Number 1, heliophobia. If you were to go outside right now and look up in the sky, more than likely you would see the sun, and that alone would prove you don't have heliophobia, as it's the fear
Is
of
it the fear of the
Why would
sun?
people be afraid of the sun? Well, some people fear the light that it brings.
So you just don't go outside, you just stay cooped up in your crib every single day of
Fear
your
that they could
life?
get cancer from overexposure. Some people think that the sun is constantly cooking them, and thus they try and get out of it as quickly as they can. Then there are those who have a legit fear of the sun via a rare skin disease, xeroderma pigmentosa, which is a condition where your skin is so sensitive to the sun that it'll burn instantly.
Oh, hey, we don't want to see that. We don't want to see that. We don't want to see that.
And that can be crippling to one wanting to experience the world. Thanks for watching. What did you think of these
Yeah, these phobias.